Hello, this is Michael Behrens on January 1st, 2021, New Year's morning at about 8:45 a.m. and I'm on Lake Creek Trail in Northwest Austin, just barely in Williamson County, and starting out the morning looking down the creek, Lake Creek, that this trail is named after. I see in the distance a couple of common birds. On the right here is a great blue heron. You can see there's a lot of water flow in the creek because we just had almost seems like two solid days of cold rain. So it's nice that today, New Year's Day, is expected to be just partly cloudy. And then to the left, here's the great egret. See, they're about the same size. Great blue heron is a little bit bigger. Then as we move up, this was interesting, and this is as close as I can zoom in with my current equipment. There is both a belted kingfisher facing away from us, and just barely to the left, a red-shouldered hawk facing us. And it looks like they're lighting up in the sun now. There's a little bit of sunlight coming through way over there. So all four of these relatively large, conspicuous birds are hanging around in the same spot, hoping to warm up a little bit. That was a fun start to my New Year's morning birding. Hopefully I can find some other neat stuff to share. I believe the same belted kingfisher that we got a distant look at first flew in closer. This is a nice look, showing the most of the field marks. You see kingfishers are a pretty stout, squat bird. Big old, disproportionately large bill, and bluish colors similar to a blue jay. And look, you can even see that little white dot between the eye and the bill. And this one has the rufous, the reddish brown sides, means it's a female. It's kind of uncharacteristic, but not completely unheard of in bird species, where this is a case where the female has more colors than the male. Usually it's the opposite, but not always. So kingfishers, there are kingfishers all over the world. Belted kingfishers are our most common species here in central Texas, although we do have ringed kingfishers and green kingfishers that can be found on the Colorado River, that used to be restricted to South Texas, but belted is by far the most common, and they're more common in the winter. Belted kingfishers, and all kingfishers, I think, the way they nest is they dig holes in banks of creeks and rivers. So they need soft, high riverbanks and creek banks, which this creek does not have. So we typically don't see belted kingfishers on this trail, Lake Creek Trail, in the summer, since they need breeding habitat that this creek really doesn't offer. Those banks they can dig holes in, but there are usually a couple here through the winter, and here's one of them. Here's a couple white-throated sparrows. Ran into Helen Mastrangelo on the trail. She spotted these guys. It's one of our winter resident bird species, and look at that. That's a really nice one with a nice yellow lore, really bright white throat, bright black and white stripes on the crown, and a yellow lore. These species, this species we usually always find by the in the real dense stuff by the creek. And this species of sparrow is one of the sparrows that will sing more often than others during the winter. So it's a really neat song that we get to hear as Central Texans. A sparrow song we get to hear more often than others. And looks like above it, another species came in. I believe that's a song sparrow. Let's see if it's hidden behind that ledge there. Yeah, it looks like the streaks are coarse enough. I see gray in the face. I believe that's a song sparrow. Song sparrows are associated with water, tend to be associated with water in my experience in the winter here. Both song sparrow and white-throated sparrow are winter residents here in Central Texas. And this is a really neat, great opportunity. Look at all those white-throated sparrows foraging on the ground. Often these guys can be really hard to see, hard to pull out of the dense foliage, but dense brush, but these have found a spot where they feel safe. So glad Helen spotted these. Now there's that one really bright one. You see that one real bright one up at the edge of the railing? Very cool. Here's a male Downy woodpecker. You can see the red on the back of the head. It's preening, doing some preening. Downy woodpeckers are year-round residents. They're like an eastern species, eastern United States, that gets all the way over into Central Texas here. They have like a white stripe down the back, which you might be able to see if it turns a little bit. There's a nice look at the pattern on the wings there. We have these downy woodpeckers. This is the smallest species of woodpecker we have here in Central Texas. Next is ladder-backed. Ladder-backed and downy sound very similar. There are some subtle differences you can learn. And this one found a nice sunny spot. It's just taking a break and doing some preening.